Hello. Today I'm going to share some basic exam principles with you. If you are preparing for any exam, please follow these principles strictly. I'm going to share these principles with you. I also refer to them as the 10 commandments of a successful exam. So there are some commandments that you need to follow if you want to succeed in any exam that you are writing. So before I continue, I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm Z. James Kum. I'm a professional translator and a bilingual teacher. So I'm going to share these tips with you, these principles, these commandments, however you want to refer to them. You are free. Just take note that before following these tips, you are supposed to, first of all, read your notes properly, prepare for the exam adequately, study before you apply these tips, because these ones are mostly mostly useful when you are writing the exam after preparing for it adequately. So let's begin right away with the first one, which is thou shalt be punctual in the exam hall. Of course, you must be punctual. If not, you may not write the exam, or you may be asked to write only for a few hours. For example, an exam that you're supposed to write for 3 hours, then maybe you come 1 hour late, 30 minutes late. You're going to stop at the same time with the others, so you're going to lose something significant. So you need to be there to avoid any consequences like losing marks or not finishing and things like that. Another important commandment that you need to respect is thou shalt read and follow instructions very strictly. Many students neglect that particular aspect and they just try to answer questions the way they think, whereas instructions are part of the exam and you need to follow them as strictly as possible. The third commandment is thou shalt answer all the required number of questions as instructed, not more, not less. Not more if you are asked to answer 4 questions out of 5. It is not necessary to answer all the 5 questions. So you need enough time to answer the questions very well. So you are going to give a sketchy answer and the teacher will mark only 4 questions, even if you answer 5, whereas he asked for 4. On the other hand, if you also answer less, like maybe you answer 3 questions out of 4 that you're supposed to answer, you are going to be penalized because you are going to lose marks. You are going to lose marks automatically where you did not answer the questions. But if you attempt the question, you may have a few marks, maybe 5 on 20 or 4 on 20. Still something. So half bread is better than none. It's better to tackle each question courageously rather than surrendering right away. The fourth commandment is thou shalt write in thy best handwriting as neatly and clearly as possible. This is very important because the examiner or the teacher marking your script is supposed to know that he's supposed to see something, he's supposed to see what he's looking for. He or she is supposed to assess you based on what you've written. And if it's not clear enough, of course, you can't have marks when it's not clear. And very important for you to note that you need to give enough space between words. One way of writing clearly is to give enough space between words. Most often, I've seen students who actually just join words and it's difficult to read, not because their handwriting is really bad, but because they join words and it's difficult to make sense out of what they've written. Coupled with maybe wrong spelling and other things, it becomes very difficult to understand what they've written. Avoid that. Another basic principle is thou shalt skip lines between questions and write as neatly as possible. When you join questions, the tendency is for maybe even the examiner or the teacher to even mistakenly consider as one question, you answer question 1 and 2, and when it is joined together, if the teacher is not very conscious, he may mistakenly consider that as a single question and would think that you didn't answer all the questions. There may be confusion. The teacher needs to mark and give marks at the end of each question. So that extra space is always very important, maybe for marks to be written, maybe for comments to be made on that question before moving to the next one. So take that into consideration. If you make mistakes, of course, nobody is perfect. you can always cancel with a neat line. Just draw a neat line across whatever you've written. Let it be legible. Don't cancel like a child. Cancel responsibly in a way that somebody can still know what you earlier wrote. So it should be neat. Just take note. Another one is thou shalt number questions and avoid recopying them before answering. Very important. Except you are told to recopy questions, please don't copy them. Just put the question number and answer. As soon as you indicate the question number, the examiner or the teacher already knows which question you're answering. So it's no longer necessary to recopy the question. So avoid that, except somebody really says, copy the question and complete. If somebody does not tell you directly to copy question, please avoid that. It's waste of time and it's not going to be considered. Teachers and examiners always have question papers whenever they're marking, so they will always check question 2. They don't need that. You should copy. It's waste of time and it's not useful in any way. Answer the question quickly. The next one is thou shalt not cheat in whatever manner. This is a very important point that I have put in capital letters. Avoid cheating in whatever form. The use of phones, the use of pre-prepared material, the use maybe even copying from another student. It's all of that. Any form of cheating, please avoid that. And you already know those devastating consequences of such acts. So avoid that as much as possible, and you will still pass honestly. Or if you fail, you simply need to rewrite. At least that honor is there, that effort is there, personal effort, because cheating will always lead to devastating consequences. You may be given a 0. You may be asked not to write again, especially if you are cheating for the second time. You may be dismissed, things like that. So to avoid those obstacles, study where, write what you think is correct, and move on. Next point is thou shalt not neglect any aspect of written language. Aspect of written language here involve grammar, spelling, punctuation, the use of spelling, punctuation, capitalization, and for French in particular, there is that additional use of accents. Put accents. Many people don't put accent when necessary. When you know that an accent is necessary for a word, please put it. Don't assume that it's a small problem. It's not a small problem. Accents are very important. They're parcel of French. So you must really put them if you need to put them. If they are necessary, if you need an accent in a particular word, even the word can be understood without the accent, just put it. It's very important. Don't debate that. Oh, it's not. Of course, even a spelling error can make spelling. You can make a mistake, write a word wrongly. It's possible, but make efforts to minimize spelling problems, minimize the poor use of capitalization. Maybe using capitalization when not necessary. Use capitalization when necessary at the beginning of the sentence, for proper nouns and things like that. So take notes, please. Next point is thou shalt always proofread thy answers properly if possible. If possible here means that if you finish before time, of course, that's when you can really have that time to proofread. You may finish 10 minutes to the end of the exam. That's the period that those 10 minutes should be used judiciously to proofread your work. Just glance through some of the review and then correct basic mistakes like spelling issues and things like that. Don't rush. So just make sure that you correct what you can correct. But in the case where you finish just at the nick of time, I think there it's not your fault. You don't have time to proofread, and you bear the consequences if there are really issues that you are supposed to correct. Make sure that you correct all the mistakes. Anything left should be errors. Errors are the ones that you don't know, you don't see, but which the teacher will identify. So at least we will have identified the ones that are obvious. So last but not the least is thou shalt not discuss answers after each course or each subject. So depends if you are writing at university level is generally a course, the level of secondary school is generally subject. So after writing, You don't need to discuss your answers with anybody. Even if you are right, let the teacher or the examiner decide. If you are wrong, they should be the ones to decide. Never discuss answers. Use that precious time to revise your work, to revise for the next subject, of course. For the next subject that you are going to write. Is when you finish writing all the subject, the last subject, after the last subject, you are free to make general comments about all the courses or all the subjects you've written. There you don't have any consequences. But discussing a course when you have another one tomorrow or maybe even later on the day, there is no need because you are wasting too much time for no good reason. You can't change what has happened. If you have failed, you've failed. If you have passed, you've passed. But what's more important is that you should pass at least the next subject or the next course that you're going to write. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck in your exam. If you find this video useful, I would like to plead with you to subscribe to the channel. You can like the video. You can even share it to others. Why not? So that they can also benefit from these basic exam principles. Uh, thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope that you're going to put this into practice and pass your exam successfully. Goodbye.